What's going on, everybody?
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Happy Sunday.
Happy hot Sunday.
Oh, so hot.
I don't know about you guys where you are. Tell us in the chat, but it is a bazillion degrees here right now. Currently, it's saying, what are you doing over
Oh,
here?
I was looking to see if I could
Quit trying to touch that.
find it on the
It
computer.
never works out.
I know. Forget it.
Currently, it's saying 113 here. A minute ago, it was saying 114. But we're in the middle of a bit of a heat wave here. We're hitting some 116. The record in Vegas, the recorded temperature is 117, which has happened a couple of times. So I don't think we beat that yet, but it's possible.
It looks like it's going to happen this week. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Woo!
you know, I'm from Oregon, and my family back there, my sister and stuff, they're having a heat wave there as well. They're like over 100 degrees, which for Oregon, where there's humidity, that feels probably about the same as it feels here, being 116.
Yeah. See, Heather is in Oregon, 102.
Yeah, see, so it's I remember the days in Oregon when it's like Oregon has great summers. But and like for the majority of the time you're like just coasting in the 80s, but when it gets into the 90s it's pretty rough. And then you have that week, usually it's in August. Usually August is like the hottest month of the year, and you have like a week where it's in the hundreds and it's like geez. But here, yeah, we like
Emily's not even as hot in Albuquerque, for crying out loud.
Yeah, it's a dry heat, so it's better. But here's the thing. Because it's a dry heat, like I was saying, back in Oregon, once you hit 100 degrees, 90s is pretty hard. And also on top of that, the majority, I would say a lot of people, it's not standard to have like central air, like air conditioning. Maybe you'll have a window unit in one of your rooms, but it's not like a standard thing. So it can be pretty hot when it gets up into those temperatures. But here in Vegas, it's like...
Well, it's like Kathy says. Kathy said sitting in your oven's better than sitting in your sauna. Kind of.
True.
That's pretty much it.
Like here, I'd say anything like like between 100 and 110 is okay. Like it's not bad. But
I cap at like 105, personally.
Yeah. But like 90s is a piece of cake, and even a little over 100 piece of cake. But like once you get over 110, it's pretty insufferable when you go outside.
Yeah, there's no such thing as anybody like not having central air in this part of the country.
Yeah, see, Heather has no AC. Yeah, we grew up with no AC when I was a kid. Of course, my parents got central air as soon as like we were out of the house. They decided that was the time. Of course, my mom has MS, so heat really affects her a lot. So it makes sense. But when I was a kid, if it got too hot, like you put a big box fan in the front door and like open the back door and get the air circulating.
That's
through
what
the
we
house.
did back home too, though. Like my parents put in central air after I moved out too. I think it's a conspiracy, right? We sweated our butts off, and we would go and lay down we had a finished basement. This is in Rhode Island. We had a finished basement, which was like the family room, and we would lay down because the floor there was much cooler. So we would lay down in the finished basement to like watch TV or watch movies, or we'd sleep down there. We'd bring our sleeping bags down there when we were kids.
Yeah. Tommy says, how can you live like that? You know, we're really lucky that it's not like we work outside. We don't need to be out in the heat. We don't have outside jobs, or even jobs that would require us to leave the house, get in a car, go to another place and go inside. We can just stay home, and we've got the AC. Like, it's like...
This is our winter. People stay home. Like, it's as if we lived in the Midwest or the Northeast in like Buffalo, New York or something, where it snows 30 inches every 3 weeks in the winter, and you just kind of stay home in the winter. People that live in this type of climate, they just stay home a lot in the summer. If you're not in air conditioning, you're in a pool. And even now, pools are like bathtubs. It's so warm. So it's not even like refreshing. So yeah.
It's 73 degrees inside our house, where we keep it nice and cool. The thing that really sucks is we can't let our dogs outside. It's way too hot. So they got to be inside with pee-pee pads, but it is what it is. Luckily we have small dogs, so they can run around, get their energy out inside the house. And if we really, when we have to go to the store or something like that, you can remote start your car, get it cooled down at least a little bit so it's bearable to get into to go to the store. But like yesterday, we went, a lot of people think of Vegas, they just think of casinos and stuff like that. But Vegas is actually, we're in a great location for lots of great outdoors stuff. And you're probably thinking outdoors at 116 degrees is ridiculous.
It is.
But we've got mountains, guys. We actually have two different ski resorts, like within a half hour to an hour, depending on where you are in Vegas. And so we actually went yesterday. We drove from where we're at. It was about an hour. But we drove up to Lee Canyon. There's a ski resort up there, and during the summertime, it's open up for there's people doing like mountain biking and stuff like that. It's legit
Hiking.
30 degrees cooler up there. Like when we got out of the car up there, it was like 85 degrees, which again, with no humidity, feels freaking great.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. We went up there. We had a really mediocre lunch.
It was
Unfortunately,
crap. It was a gross lunch. Don't go there for the food.
And then they have the ski lift is open, and you can take the ski lift on a scenic ride, and it goes all the way up the mountain and then comes back down again. So, and that's what I'm actually surprised there weren't more people up there. I think people don't realize like how much stuff is available to do in Vegas, and even in the summertime, you can go up there and people are hiking. Like there's cool outdoor stuff to do away from the heat. Now, if you live in Oregon, there's no like, oh, just drive an hour away and it's going to be so much cooler. There's not.
Well, I mean,
you
it
can kind of
depends
go
where,
in the mountains,
because
I
you
guess,
can go in
too.
the mountains.
That's
like,
true.
Because I'm going to be in 2 weeks. I'm going to be in Washington, and I'll be in the mountains and at a campground, and it's beautiful in Washington State this time of year, and you can escape the heat by being in the mountains, and the woods and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I just on the chat, Spirits of Fashion. I'm originally from Rhode Island too. Really, where are you from? It's such a small state. I moved here a little over 11 years ago. I moved to Las Vegas, but before that, I lived in the same small town in the same small state for my whole life. 38 years I lived in West Warwick, Rhode Island.
Yeah, poor Tommy. 103 degrees on Tuesday where he's at. So
everybody, stay in the air conditioning if you can. Stay cool. Nobody needs heat stroke. We're not getting any younger kids.
I will say, back when I used to bike a lot, like cycling. I don't know what I'm doing with my hands. Cycling, and I did.
Did you cycle with your hand cycling?
I did cycling, and I remember one year I did the MS ride, and it was in August, and it was during a heat wave, and it was 104 degrees, and I remember the tar off the road was like practically like the heat just coming up off the road was so horrible. But I mean, and I rode like over 100 miles that day. It was ridiculous. I don't think I could do that now. In fact, I can tell you I could not do that now. But anyway,
yeah, this is fire season for sure. Here, California, mostly California, but we definitely get it in the mountains here. It happens quite often in those mountains we were just talking about, because it's the only place where there's extreme vegetation in this valley area or in the mountains, and so we do have heat fires that happen occasionally, and it's been pretty dangerous. Last year, it burnt down the ski resort at Mount Charleston, which still hasn't been rebuilt. So it does happen, and it can be very dangerous because they really just can't really control them because it's so much open space and a lot of debris and foliage. So they just kind of let them run until they run out, and it can be pretty scary. There's not a lot of loss of life because there's not a lot of people that live there, but there's a lot of loss of beautiful vegetation and buildings and stuff. So it's never a good deal.
Well, and one of the tough things in Vegas is if you're in the middle of the summer and it's really hot and like your AC goes out, like you're kind of screwed depending on how quickly you can get it fixed or replaced or whatever. And that's one of the things I like about when we moved here 2 years ago. We moved from Henderson, which is 20 minutes away from where we're at now. And we only had one AC unit there. We never had a problem. It never went out or anything. But here at this house, it actually has two. So at the very least, we know, okay, if one ever did go out, they're never going to go out at the same time.
We won't die.
We would at least have like one that would still be able to keep us cool while we get the other one fixed or replaced. But anyway.
Hi, Crystal.
You would hope, though, with the heat and everything, people stay inside, we'd be getting some more sales. But I don't know.
I think people are busy doing stuff. This is vacation time. July is prime vacation time, especially around the 4th of July. It's one of the biggest travel weeks of the entire year all over the country. And, it happens. So you just talk about, like, losing AC. My friend Jen, who does my clothing listings for me, her AC blew in her house like a week and a half ago, and it took them, because this is the busy time of the year, obviously, for AC repair people as well, it took them like a week to get out to her to get it repaired. Her and her husband had to check into a hotel with their elderly cats because the house was like 95 degrees.
Yeah. Well, and if your AC goes out and if it has to be like replaced, that's like a good at least 10 grand, probably more like 15 grand nowadays.
Thankfully they rent, but still.
So your landlord takes care of that. But anyway, so that's all we've got going on here, just being hot. We have been going to the bins. Luckily the bins they keep it relative. I mean, for how hot it is outside and all the people in there, it keeps cool enough. I was getting a little hot when we were there the last time, yesterday morning, but I wasn't dying or anything. And we found some good stuff. We probably should record a haul video this week.
We do need to do a haul video. I actually had a really good day at the bins yesterday. Pretty good week in general. And then my friend Lori, I don't know if she's in the... Oh, it's right there.
I think she is.
Lori in the chat. Lori, I got your package yesterday. Thank you. That was a really good package. Lori's been saving a bunch of vintage stuff for me that I purchased from her. She donates some of her time working at a nonprofit that occasionally gets things in that they can't sell. So whenever I do buy some things from her, it goes to the nonprofit, which is great.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Crystal says, I'll just hibernate till October. Right. She's very fair. Both her and our friend Dana are like the two whitest people I've ever met. And Katie's pretty damn white. But yeah, you guys look like you'll spontaneously combust if you go out in the sun. So yeah, I mean, we pretty much just hibernate too. Like we don't do a lot. Like when we're not traveling, we're not super social this last couple of years, I think. You know, we make a point to get together with our friends here. Like we saw Crystal and Angel last weekend. It's like you have to make a concerted effort as an adult to get together with friends and do things. Cause
it's really easy to get.
We all get really complacent and comfortable just staying home in our own little worlds and our own little bubble.
I can't help it.
But it's like if you don't make a concerted effort, you know, 6 months or a year will go by without seeing people. So it's like, except for when we travel. Obviously, when you travel, you see all the people that you're there to see. So, you know, every once in a while I'll be like, okay, Katie, I gotta like call so-and-so. We haven't seen so-and-so in a few months and we gotta get together. So,
yep.
You know.
So, I don't know, what else do you have to say about this last week?
Sales have been crappy.
Yeah.
Really crappy. I have literally 6 things to ship from eBay since Friday morning.
My eBay has been holding somewhat steady the last few weeks. My problem is that all my other platforms kind of died, so which we'll talk about here when we get into the show. But so this is our regular Sunday show. We break it up into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our numbers, our real numbers, our gross numbers over all of our platforms. How many are you on now? Did you drop Depop yet?
I haven't, but I also haven't sold anything on Depop or added anything in a while, so I may as well just shut it all down.
Yeah.
It's absolutely worthless for me.
We look at...
I tried to add it back in. I did the promoted. I did everything. I've got a couple hundred things listed there. You know, a few, maybe 500 things, I guess, listed there. And yeah, I've had 3 sales in like 5 months. Fuck it. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Depop is not my market.
So we look at those real numbers and then kind of break down some of the costs from our cost of goods, most importantly, as well as like shipping, fees, stuff like that. Middle part of our show, we look at our sales highlights for the last week and some of the interesting things we sold, maybe some really good sales, maybe some educational sales. And in the last part, we look at kind of, the goals that we set last week, if we're achieving them or failing miserably, and then kind of what we're hoping to do going forward. And we always invite you guys to participate in that in the chat, in the comments after the show is over. Just a good way to keep yourself accountable, keep each other accountable, also to cry out our woes to each other and accomplishments and so on and so forth. Hey, Lorna, what's happening? Oh, and we got Liz
in hibernation mode.
No, that's Lorna. Oh, Lorna's in hibernation mode, yes. Hi, Liz. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started here.
And Tommy, if you want to give Tommy a wrench, by the way, so we do try to use our platform to help friends when we are able to. Speaking of Dana, a lot of you guys know Dana. Dana rocks. Dana Jasmine is her last name. She is one of my best friends. She's one of our best friends here in town. She started out as my assistant 8 years ago and became family. That kind of happens. And she has to have some super crazy expensive oral surgery and periodontal work, and it's just really it's ridiculously expensive. And like anything else in this world, if you do not have amazing insurance, everything out of pocket costs $1 bazillion.
Well, regular healthcare is bad enough in this country, but overall dental work is not really considered all that important for some reason when it comes to insurance. So maybe you can get basic stuff done, but otherwise you're just kind of screwed. So
she's got like $17,000 worth of dental surgery that she has to have because her jaw is disintegrating. It's like it's not like optional. It's not like she's decided she's going to go get some great veneers. Anyway, she has to have like bones and things rebuilt. It's not like, hey, just yank my teeth out and give me some dentures. It's, even that's expensive. But she can't have that done and all at once because who has $17,000 in, liquid cash? But anyway, so she's just always been an extremely generous person that donates to everybody's GoFundMe across the board. Anytime I've ever done one, any type of fundraising we've done, she's done so much to raise money for AIDS Nevada. I've done many, many walkathons with her. And, we're going to let Tommy or somebody pop that GoFundMe in the chat if you have the option to donate
He's in there.
$5, $10. Just share it if you don't have any money. Anything you can do to help. We're all kind of just trying to get by in these days, and anything we can do to help each other, it is much appreciated.
It is. Keep talking.
Okay. Why am I still talking?
Oh, never mind. So, okay. Anyway, I'll add the link to the description after the show. But Tommy, if you want to just put the link in the chat, you can, because you are now.
Or Lorna. Anybody
or
that
Lorna.
anybody that has a wrench that's in our chat.
Yeah. But Tommy just got himself promoted. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and start the show. And let me go ahead and share the screen here. Oh, wait, let me do this first. Here we go. Mm-hmm. And we'll start with looking at our numbers, guys. So you can see my number of orders for the week went down a little. My eBay is kind of holding its own, still hitting over 1,000, which, like we've been talking about, we're in the summer months now. Things are probably going to start declining. Or have historically, especially in July and August for me. So if I can keep eBay going, that'll make me happy. But my other platforms, 32 eBay, 5 Etsy, 2 Poshmark. Last week I had like 11 on Poshmark, and the week before that I had 11 on Poshmark. I was looking at it today and I'm like, wait, I only had 2 sales on Poshmark? What the heck? Anyway, 9 between Grailed, Macari, and Depop. Nothing private. So my total outgoing orders are 48. eBay, $1,356.93. Etsy, a very sad, dismal $237.10, which actually I've done that much just this weekend on Etsy. Today I had a great sale on Etsy, so I feel like Etsy fails me for the week and then it hits the ground running the next week. It just kind of seems like it's the pattern. A sad $70 on Poshmark, $400 on Grailed, Macari, and Depop combined. So my total gross sales just barely over $2,000, $2,064.03. My shipping, $153.18, and then you can see all the breakdown of the fees there. Cost of goods, pretty low, $115. My total net sales, just barely over $1,500. I got $1,541.35. My gross average sale price did go up a little tiny bit, $43, and then my net is $32.11. So, meh.
Before we switch, I just want to comment. Yeah, distinctive stuff sells. If you want to pop that information into the chat, if you can, or message it through one of our contacts on the bottom, I will definitely pass that information along to her. I have actually seen many times that Thailand is a great place to go to get dental work done. I'm not sure if Dana would be comfortable or able to do that, but I can definitely pass the information along. I've seen people that have gone to get, $30,000 worth of dental work in the US, get it done for $3,000 there, and you add some room and board to that, and
yeah.
It's actually a fraction of the price.
Actually, having somebody who has somebody to recommend, as opposed to just blindly trying to figure out how do you find a dentist in Thailand, could make it possible. But anyway, very cool. Thank you. All right, let's go ahead and look at your numbers. You were saying that you thought I probably beat you, but I think
I had a really
just
shitty
barely
week.
beat me.
I did just barely beat you. I don't even think, not even $100 more. So 26 orders on eBay, 9 on Etsy, 8 on Poshmark, 2 on Macari, no Depop. 45 total orders for $13.62 on eBay. That's pretty bad. $412 on Etsy, $287 on Posh, and then just $74.50 on Macari. My total for the week, $2136.48. Historically for me, I don't know about everyone else, but historically for me, no matter what type of sales I'm running, the 4th of July week is always a very, very slow sales week for me. I just looked back at this year and the previous year specifically quickly on eBay and everything, and it is not that much different than what it normally is. So $2136.48, my total sales for the week. You see the breakdown of the shipping and all of the platform fees there. And my cost of goods, always relatively low at $88 cost of goods there. Total net for the week, 1603. My gross average sale price is it's under $50. I do like to be around 50, but 47.48. And then my net average sale price is 35.63. Not a fantastic week, but struggling along.
Yeah.
And again, even though we show you our income and our businesses separate because we do run them separate, obviously we are a couple. So if you were to look at our gross week together, it's not terrible,
Yeah.
4,300.
We're just plugging along.
My clothing is still the majority of my sales, Susie, but I am listing more hard goods and shoes and things like that in the last couple of months because I've been getting through my my hard goods. So they are selling a little bit more. It's hit or miss. I definitely still have a backlog to get through. And when I list it, they sell.
It's true. You need more hard goods. You need to be able to find more hard goods.
Mm-hmm.
Just clothing is so much easier to get.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's easier to get. It's easier to find. Yeah.
All right. So we're going to go into our sales highlights. I will say for me, it's not as exciting sharing sales when I'm focusing more on volume and my prices have gone down. So what I would say is, with the kind of stuff I'm selling now, definitely if you're looking at, buying clothes or selling clothes, look at it more as I'm sharing with you like some good bread and butter ideas, and realizing that this is the kind of stuff that you can generally find anywhere, like anywhere that you are sourcing, which actually I think makes it more attainable for like the average seller, as opposed to the kind of stuff in the past that I would be really excited about selling a t-shirt for $300.
Crazy banger stuff.
I know, but it's just not as exciting, guys.
Well, and it's the same here. A couple of things that I'm going to show you are very basic things, and that was why I added them to this because they're the type of things that you can find everywhere. It's not about name brand. It's all about style and about describing the item properly and just having an eye for something and how someone's going to style it.
Yeah.
That's part of what we try to share, is just like teaching things. It's not like, hey, look at this fantastic $5,000 item that I found that you'll never in your life ever see. Never mind find. Good luck.
Yeah.
Those are all fun. Obviously, when we find something great, we want to share it. But I would assume that the majority of you guys watch our channel to learn so that you can find little nuggets to apply to your own business and help you succeed. And that's really what we want to do. So.
Yep. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with your first item. What you got going on here?
This is one of those items I was just talking about. So I bought this at the Bins. That brand is not even a good brand. It may be a Walmart brand. It might be Ross or something like that. Some place that's very inexpensive. This is a very, very light sheer cover-up that cost me probably 75 cents at the Bins. And the reason why I'm showing this is that most people would look at this, and if you were to see this on a rack somewhere or see it at a garage sale or whatever, they wouldn't pick this up because it's a brand. You're like, this is a no-name brand. Why am I going to pick this up? But I picked it up because I could envision what it was going to look like. Like, that's a fantastic cover-up. It's very gothic looking. It has lace. It's black. It has roses. So it's not even a very expensive item, and I did take an offer on it. The offer was $34. My normal price was $40, but it sold within like 2 weeks. I paid less than $1 and made like a $33 profit. So it's not that it was necessarily this banger piece or anything, but sometimes when you're getting things very inexpensively, it's all about the fashion and about the style. And that is something that, you could wear it as a beach cover-up. You can wear it as some women like to wear these over dresses, short shorts. This is like a thing right now in like the whole Western frilly look. You'd wear this over a pair of Daisy Dukes and a tank top with your cowboy boots and a cowboy hat. It doesn't matter that this goes to the ground and your shorts are short. It doesn't matter. It's a super cute look. So
interesting. All right, cool. My first one, now this is a very small, very low price sale, but what I thought was interesting, I got this in my very last batch of stuff that I bought from our friend Jen Goodale. I had bought 130, 140 pieces, and when I buy stuff from her, we've kind of come to the point where it's like everything's like $5 a piece, but I take everything. And I get a lot of really great stuff, and then other stuff where I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be able to sell this for much. It's really just more about at least recouping my cost on that particular item and maybe making a few bucks, and then just getting it out of here. And so this was one of those things, like I'll always pick up denim. Any denim shirts are popular right now. but these Wrangler Western ones with the pearl snap buttons. And so you're thinking like, why'd you sell it for so cheap? Well, here's the reason. You can see right here in this picture, the elbow is torn out on both sides. So a huge hole on each side. And so I'm like, all right, I'm thinking to myself, like, who's gonna buy this? I'm just gonna. I know, I'm gonna put this up for cheap and just sell it. And so I put it up and I sold it within like 1 day of listing it. I sold it for $23.99, and I was like surprised. I'm like, wow, I already sold that. Great. Sold it for $23.99, shipping $5.95. And I had sold it like in the afternoon or something. And usually, like, I'm on 6 different platforms. I'll go and I'll end anything that's sold on other platforms. I don't usually do it the same day. I'll do it like the next morning, because generally it's like it's not an issue. And this, I had only listed it on eBay and Etsy, and I wasn't going to like cross post to the other platforms until the next day. Well, that night I freaking sold the same thing. Jen, I sold it on Etsy too, and I had to cancel my Etsy sale. And I'm like, what's going on? Apparently, I just need to get raggedy old Wranglers with the elbows ripped out. For whatever, like, I have another Wrangler that I also got from Jen that's in great condition and not priced that much more, and I haven't sold that one. So apparently they just want the ripped up ones. And then Vicky's going to show you. So I sold this twice in 1 day after listing it like the day before. And then I was like, hey, Vicky, guess what? And then she's like, oh my gosh, look what I sold this weekend, because this is last weekend.
Same weekend. Also a pearls. Can you get the screen?
Oh, yeah. Hold on, where's my thing? Yep.
I didn't show this as one of my solds, but same weekend. Also Wrangler Pearl Snap. Sold for $40 on Etsy. Had not been listed very long. Same weekend Katie sold hers. I'm trying to enlarge the photo, and I don't know if I can.
Yeah, just get close up.
Also, blown out elbow.
Yeah. And when she told me
What the frig?
She told me she sold it for $40, and I'm like, gosh darn it, I could have sold it for more.
It sold, July 1st. So yeah, it sold like the beginning of the, anyway, super weird.
Brent says 0 chance the Etsy buyer saw the issues. I mean, I had it, yeah.
They already left positive feedback, so they must have.
Mine too. They left positive feedback.
I don't know. And I got mine at the bins, but like, I don't even think I noticed that it had that big hole in the elbow until I got it home and washed it. It was like one of those, I grabbed it. I don't always check my stuff over at the bins itself, so a lot of times I'm going to come home with a cart full of stuff and have to throw away a thing or two. Plus, the lighting in the bins is god-awful. I'll tell you, there's so many times I've seen things, I've bought things, and I think it's in great condition. You get it home, and it's got stains all over it, and I'm like, oh, crap.
Anyway, so moral of the story is, because I feel like this happens
apparently
all the time.
Buy all the Wrangler.
But the thing is, I have other Wrangler stuff that's priced competitively and it hasn't sold, so I don't know. But the moral of the story to me is you just never know, and a lot of times you'll get something, you'll be like, ugh, I gotta list this, even though I know it's either not going to sell or it's not worth much, and then that'll be like the first thing that sells. So whatever, it is what it is. Dana's in the chat now, thanking everyone who's contributed to her fundraiser. She says she appreciates you all so much.
I mean, thrashed stuff didn't really ever go away. People have always loved thrash stuff, but
it's just a weird.
It's such a weird. You never know what is going to speak to each person.
It's just that the elbows are, because like there was another shirt that I got from Jen, it's a plaid one, and it had a hole that was definitely not. I mean, apparently blown at elbows is great, but it had a hole that was not anything that I would think is marketable. I actually cut the sleeves off of that one because I looked at it. I'm like, this actually looks pretty cool with the sleeves rolled up, so I cut them off, rolled them, and I'm going to list it like that. We'll see how it goes, but sometimes you have to take matters into your own hands. Anyway, all right, let's go back to yours. Here's your next one.
Okay, so this brand is not necessarily a Bolo brand, but it is a brand that I picked this up at one of the discount stores when we were in Dallas. And it is a discount store that sells brand new stuff at, retail stuff. So I think I paid $5.99 or $6 for this shirt. And it was just funky looking. It definitely, Sullen looks a lot like Affliction. It's just a little bit more toned down than Affliction. And it came out around the same era. And it just reminds me, a friend of mine was a rep for Sullen. And
it's kind of like tattoo art type.
Yeah, it was sponsored by Sullen for years before he passed away. And it just always reminded me of him. So I picked up a bunch of these pieces. And I've already sold both Sullen pieces that I had picked up. And this was one that I just wanted to say, certain styles and designs, keep an eye out for. I paid, like I said, between $4 and $6 for this. And it sold for full price for $49.95. Listed less than a month.
Yep. I mean, Solon is one. It doesn't go for huge amounts of money, but I can always sell even like the used T-shirts. I can generally sell for $20 to $25. So they're a good like kind of bread and butter brand that are somewhat popular. All right, so next one for me. This is a thing that I always pick up destination tees if I think that if I like the graphic, if I think the graphic's interesting. And it can be like the most random destinations, the random places, and I sell them all the time. So this is something I can pick up at the bins, and it's going to get passed over by the t-shirt bros. They're not looking at this as something that is worth their time, especially because they're there every day. They're not wanting to spend $100 a day on just tons and tons of stuff. So they pass over stuff like this, and so I'm spending less than $1. And it's not sitting around here very long before it's sold for $30 plus $5.95 shipping. And there's nothing particularly that exciting about this, but I think it's kind of a cool graphic, and so don't pass up this kind of stuff.
It reminds me of like Oregon Trail or something. That's what I think of when I see the covered wagon type thing.
Yeah, so if it has kind of a cool graphic, it doesn't necessarily have to be vintage. It's just like a Y2K. I think I've got some stuff that I'm going to be showing more of during this part of this part of the show. It's not vintage at all, and it still sells anywhere from $20, $25, $30. So
Christine made me laugh. She said one time I brought home an awesome Levi's denim jacket. Got home, it was missing the whole right sleeve.
That's when you just cut off the left sleeve and you got.
And you sell it as a vest.
Yep, there you go. All right. Tell us about this.
So this is another one where it doesn't really matter about brand. This is more about style, fashion, function, that type of thing. This dress I've had for a while. I've probably had this one for close to a year. I'm pretty sure these are Crystal's photographs, which would make it, probably I've had it for about a year. But it's made by Avon, right? So Avon used to sell a lot more clothing through their company. I didn't put Avon in the title. Nobody's looking for Avon fashion. They don't really give a crap about that it was made by Avon. But this was just a really, really beautiful dress. Now, it took a while to sell. It sold for $65. It was the best offer on that. It sold for $65. However, what was funny is I'm one of those people that I do not go and remeasure items. I take very good measurements and put them in the listings for a reason. If somebody asks for additional measurements, like what is the circumference of the wrist, I'm not pulling it out of inventory to send measurements. I'm sorry. How many times do those ever result in sales? Very, very few. And you're wasting your time chasing things. They cannot get the wrist circumference from a Nordstrom advertisement for a $10,000 dress either. So don't run yourself in circles for people with absurd questions. However, that being said, this actually had a typo in the description. For some reason, the length was listed at 28 inches.
And it's clearly a full-length dress. It's clearly a
maxi dress or full-length dress. And my buyer sent a question and said, could you just clarify the length on this for me? And usually I'm the person who'll be like, measurements are clear in the listing, blah, blah, blah. It's not that I ignore them. I just... I'll answer back, and that's usually what I say. Additional measurements are not available, blah, blah, blah. But this was a typo. So I went and pulled it out and remeasured, and it was 58 inches for the full length, and it should have been. So it was just it was a typo. No big deal, it happens, but I'm glad that I answered because she replied, I said, oh, I'm so sorry. Clearly that's a typo. It's 58 inches. She said, I just wanted to make sure. That seemed absurdly short for me for a maxi dress. And I'm like, no, you're right. That was my bad. And, she bought it right away. So
nice.
That's all I'm saying. It's like, not every buyer is a problem buyer. Not every buyer asking a question is a jerk. You don't need to automatically block people that ask questions. I don't do any of that. I do not do the crazy additional measurements. I do necessary measurements. Don't oopsie, Crystal, it happens. But, maybe that was why it didn't sell for so long. I don't know. Well, we all know people don't read the measurements, so that's probably not it. But anyway, answer the ones that make sense.
Right.
Don't get defensive right away. And I'm speaking to myself when I say that.
Before you get defensive. Like
Victoria. Take a look and because normally I am a defensive person. But take a look and, I'm like, 28, that's way too short. So I did go and remeasure.
Christine says that is what she did with that Levi's jacket. She cut the other sleeve off and it sold right away.
There you go.
I do that all the time. Like I'll take a t-shirt. It just depends because like with t-shirts, some destroyed, stained is good and desirable, and sometimes I'm like, this doesn't look good. So I've done I've made a t-shirt into a crop top. I'll take a sweatshirt and cut the sleeves into short sleeves, so it's like a surfer sweatshirt instead of a regular one, because if one sleeve has a big huge stain on it, it's like I'd rather sell it like that, and it sells. Like, people don't mind that kind of thing.
If it has great graphics, or if it has great bones, don't let flaws stop you from selling things.
Right.
That's really it.
All right, next up for me, check out my eclectic grandpa sweater vest that sold. So
it's totally because you put eclectic grandpa in the title.
I think so. So I actually sent an offer out for $30, but I sold it for $30 plus the shipping, $8.95 for shipping. I don't know why I had the shipping so high. I imagine this is under a pound, but whatever. I put it in the wrong section, but they paid $8.95 for shipping and paid $30 for it. This is a brand, you can find comps for it, but it's not anything special. If you go look at TSR sweaters, whatever, it's not anything that sells for a ton of money. I just grabbed it because, it is the whole thing right now, eclectic grandpa, which the whole idea of that is it's this aesthetic right now. Where you're getting, you look at somebody who's an eclectic grandpa and it looks like their wardrobe has been curated over decades. And so they've got these really interesting textures and looks and, just style and layers. Layers is a big thing.
Yeah.
And
so, if you Google silver fox fashion or something like that, you'll get eclectic grandpa photos. Or there's certain things you'll see, like these older gray haired, heavily tatted, really dapper looking men that wear certain it's a whole look.
But it's younger people who are who are wanting to buy that stuff and make it look like they kind of got their grandfather's wardrobe was passed down to them.
Yeah.
As opposed to stuff off the rack at Ross or Marshall's or whatever. And so stuff like this. I got this at the bins. I paid $2-3 for it and sold it for $30 plus shipping.
So Alexis, no, you did not get fired. Alexis Crystal did not get fired. She already quit.
Yeah, she already quit.
Chelsea, nice to see you in the chat. And look at that, we've got mini pastimes. Look at Miss Paula in the chat.
Paula, hey Paula, haven't seen you for so long. Hey Paula. Look at that, I'm bringing out the songs.
You are bringing out the songs. You haven't sung in a while.
I know.
Chelsea, you know what? I'll tell you what. We were just having this conversation the other day. Sam Elliott was the epitome of Silver Fox for me for decades. I mean, right? Because he's always been gray-haired as long as I've known who he was, I think.
He lives in Oregon.
He's finally hit the tipping point. He finally hit the tipping point where he just looks like an old man now. It took a long time, but he just got there.
He is an old man.
And he is an old man, but he was a sexy-ass old man until maybe a couple years ago. Now he's just old man.
Ageist. You're ageist. All right. So anyway, if you can get it for cheap, pick up stuff like this and use the keywords. Eclectic grandpa.
Use the keywords because that's what's going to sell the stuff. So this I've had for, I can't even tell you how long, because I can tell you how long because of the tabletop mannequin right there that I do not use and have not used in a long time. So I'm going to tell you I've had this for probably 4 to 5 years. This was a jacket that I picked up at the bins 4 or 5 years ago, maybe a thrift store, but I think at the bins. And I'm sure I didn't pay more than $5 for this, but this was a jacket that was given to the people that were building the Raiders Stadium here in Vegas. So I figured someone would want it, but it's been sitting with zero interest for so long. This is one that I changed the photo, I changed the title, I repriced it, did a sell similar, all that, and it sold within a couple of days because you can see it didn't sell on a sale price. It sold for $89.95, and it had been, I don't even use Sizely anymore. I haven't used Sizely in years. Katie still does, but all of those reasons. So changing the titles out, doing sell similar, not just ending and relisting, creating a whole new listing for the same item, reworking your titles, trying to change out the photos, creating something new so Google sees it as a re-indexed brand new item.
Yep.
And
I think the big part is changing the main photo. I think that's the biggest probably.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Next up for me, I don't know.
Inappropriate.
Has anyone seen Allison? Has Allison been in the chat yet? Allison came from Alaska and went on the reseller cruise with us, but she came and stayed with us before and after the trip. And she brought me 2 hats. Actually, I've sold both hats. The other hat didn't sell for as much. It sold for $25. But this hat I just sold for $35 plus shipping.
This is what happens when your friends come to visit you and they're also resellers. They bring you gifts, and their gifts are things for you to sell. It happens every time we have people come visit us, and I love it. Mm-hmm. People bring suitcases sometimes. Kara Cooper has brought suitcases. Jen Goodell brings suitcases. You people are all weirdos, and we love you for that, because nothing says love like a reseller's gifting of things for you to resell.
Well, I mean, I paid Jen some good money for that suitcase.
You did.
But and it was impressive how much she was able to pack into one suitcase.
That is such a gay bar hat, Tommy. Honestly, I would have stolen this to give to my best friend Jason had I noticed it, because it's hilarious, and he totally would wear that.
Yeah. Anyway, I didn't have these listed for all that long, so I think I sold the other hat like last week, and then sold this one not long after. But Wiener Schnitzel, it's a mouthful.
Inappropriate.
Well, the other one I had last year, the year before, it was I Heart Wieners was my other Wiener Schnitzel, and I sold that one as well. So
both inappropriate.
Wiener Schnitzel
but yet they're
hats.
funny. I don't like to. I've never been to a Wiener Schnitzel, even though we do have them here. The concept just grosses me out. But
I like hot dogs.
I do not know. Do employees actually wear these?
I don't know.
Is that actually slogan hats that someone's wearing?
I doubt it.
At a register at the restaurant, or is
then we
this
might need to
just
go.
a very fun? might go if that was what they're wearing, or is that just a funny hat that someone does with the logo? I need to know the answer to that question. Somebody needs to tell me.
Yeah.
Do we know any employees of Wiener Schnitzel? I need to know.
Anyway, all right, let's go on to the next one. What do you got?
This is a dress that I've had for quite a while as well. I'm not entirely sure how long I've had it, but I do vaguely remember purchasing it. Anyway, it's one of those brands that if you have the B. Altman tends to be a little bit more prevalent or well known for their cashmere cardigan sweaters, and those sell very well. They're one of the highest end brands of cashmere sweaters and vintage, but occasionally you'll find a dress here and there, but it is a high end brand, and it's a beautifully made designer brand. It's sold for the price you see there, $109.95. Wow. I have sent out offers many times. This has been listed for quite a while, at least a year or two. I'm sure I didn't pay more than $5 for it, but again, this is another one that I changed out the photo, I changed out the title a little bit, and I did a sell similar, and it sold within a couple of weeks of that changing it.
Yeah.
So
very nice. Very nice. All right, next up for me, I think that's two Death Valley things. I didn't realize they were both Death Valley, but this is a Death Valley National Park. Now, speaking of destination stuff, I especially love any of the national park stuff. Because I don't know, I feel like people have a special love for national parks, and so and maybe that's just my general feel, my instinct on it, but I've had this one. I'm pretty sure I got this at the bins, but I always have people like Jen to remind me if I bought them from them, but I'm pretty sure I got this at the bins. Either way, at the most I paid like $5 for it. Again, I'll get stuff. I like the destination stuff. It has to be not just that it's destination, but also coupled with a cool graphic. I like the color on this too. It's not like a bright red. It's like kind of a cool, like deeper
faded red.
It's got a nice color to it. Mm-hmm. And so, but this is like a nice Y2K. You can see the Gildan tag. Just to tell you, the Gildan tag, when it's got the gray lettering with the blue going through, it's generally Y2K, sometimes late 90s, depending. The ones that are the opposite, where it's blue lettering with the gray swoop, that's usually later 2000s and later, so usually not quite vintage. But anyway, I sold this. Somebody sent me an offer for $36, and I was like, heck yeah, I'll take your $36 and $5.95 shipping. So it was a good little sale, and at most I probably paid $5 for it. So again, destination stuff.
This one sold fairly quickly as well. This was a bins find, purchased, and it sold within a week of it being listed for the $120 that you see there. This is just a vintage ski jacket. I pick those up all the time, vintage winter jackets in general. This is the kind of stuff that's selling right now, and it's 100 bazillion degrees outside. 100 and stupid, as I call it. But this sold within a week. And here's the thing. I don't always put the brands in the title, and I've told you guys that before. I don't put the brands in the title because the brand is usually irrelevant. Well, I actually happened to look this one up when I listed it. And that particular brand, RUPP, R-U-P-P, is a snowmobile brand and does have some value on the brand name itself. So I probably could have listed this a little bit higher, but I was very happy for the quick flip, especially this time of the year.
Yep.
It sold for $120
Ski jacket
plus
in July.
plus shipping. Yeah.
Tommy Pussy Bow, I'm gonna say is probably
It's
was
Macari.
Macari. Macari is very puritanical when it comes to you saying anything naughty.
Every other platform, it's fine. Macari is the platform you cannot use that title.
God forbid you try to put a T-shirt up that has a sperm whale on it. Just saying, it cannot handle even the hint of impropriety. So it's ridiculous. It's really stupid. All right, next up.
It's just Macari. Macari has some weird trigger bots. Like they just automatically assume it's porn, and But it's a very common term, as you know. I've used that a lot. Interspersed. If you can't use Pussy Bow in the title because it's on Macari, I'll just put Secretary Bow, and that's it. But
yep. All right.
Oh, see that?
Yeah,
Chelsea said my brother restores old snowmobiles, and reps are very valuable. Oh, did not know that. I've never actually heard of the brand because obviously snowmobiles are not on my radar. But
what?
I just thought it was a pretty cool jacket. So.
Oh yeah, Poshmark can be weird. It's not as bad as Macari. Macari's the worst when it comes to thinking you're trying to put naughty words in your listings.
See, I have it on my listings on Poshmark with no issue. That might be a new thing though. I haven't tried to list anything new recently with that word.
All right, next up, going for some wide leg jeans. I know I sold some pants. Whee! They're fanny bows in the UK. That's funny, Britt. Anyway, I picked these up at the bins. The whole wide leg baggy jeans is pretty popular right now, and generally, you should be able to sell most of them regardless of the brand. That's just gonna determine like how much you can get for them. So like these, for instance,
that faraway picture looks pretty cool if you look at it when it's small, like the fade on the legs.
Yeah,
the fade down the front and the back.
Yep,
it's weird.
So this brand isn't anything particularly special. I don't know even how you say it. It's NYC. I think we had the same discussion when I think I might have shown
because I sold a pair last week.
Oh, okay, NYC. Yes, NYC, but they are vintage, and it took a little while to sell them, but I did sell them. Sold them for $40. I went back and forth with a buyer in Canada, and sold them for $40. So not too shabby. Next up for you.
All right. I show this because this is the jacket that will not frickin' stay sold, all right? Schott is an amazing brand for leather wear if you're able to find it and sell it. I have had this since List Perfectly closed the clothing vault. This was part of my acquisition. So I've had this since October of 2020. Was listed somewhere within the few months following that. I've sold it once before. I sold it for $500 about 2 years ago. Buyer returned it because it was too stiff. It is a very stiff jacket. I do say that in the description. I do show very clearly all the cracking on the leather and how it's all broken in. This is a very rare to find one this old and in this good condition. That being said, I can't freaking give this thing away. Well, thank God it finally sold. I got an offer for this for $295 this week, and I couldn't accept it fast enough.
Yeah.
And thank God it was one of those like automatic paid if you accept the offer. I was like, thank you. Yes, let me get this flipping thing out of my house. But anyway, sold, and then it's very heavy and hard to pack up, which is why it has the high shipping for $10.95 because it cost me at least $12 to ship this thing. It's heavy, it's bulky because it's so stiff. It has to go in a really big poly mailer or a box.
Yep.
So we had double bagged it and sent it out. But I'll take it. $2.95. I was happy to have sold it. It was part of an acquisition almost 4 years ago, and it just needed to be gone. I was done.
Very nice.
And they got a great deal.
All right. Next up, I have this
filthy.
Sweet wrestling sweatshirt. So another thing I like to buy is I'll pick up stuff that's like high school, like sports stuff, college, whatever, but even high school stuff. Like this is probably some sort of high school thing. And sometimes, again, like I'm buying stuff at the bins, which is where I'm assuming this is from with the state that it's in. I wouldn't have paid up for it. I buy stuff thinking like, well, maybe I can get that out. Maybe I can wash that up. And then clearly I did not have much luck with this particular item.
Absolutely not.
It is just filthy. Marks everywhere. Just disgusting.
That's skeevy looking.
Yep.
That looks like the sweatshirt that the guy who went to high school in 1991 is wearing to like mow his lawn now.
Yeah. It's pretty rough.
Still.
But guess what? I sold it for the price you see there, $41.99. plus shipping, so it's out of here.
I don't know. I mean, I would not have even.
I know. I'm surprised I was able to.
I would have picked it up.
And
that
then you
is
would- and then you
because
would
it
have
has a
gotten
cool
rid of it.
graphic, but I would never have listed it if it didn't come clean. I mean, or close to clean. That's like real bad.
But look, it sold.
I don't understand you.
Look at what you're missing out on.
Yeah, clearly.
But I like getting any of the high school stuff. You know, maybe it doesn't sell as fast, but again, if it's got like a really cool graphic, I do really well with like. I seem to be able to sell stuff like track and field, wrestling, stuff like that.
Swimming.
Again, if it has a good graphic.
No, it's true. It's true. I mean, it doesn't really matter where someone went to school. I think that's a cool graphic. But
yeah,
did it go back to PA?
I don't know. I don't remember. Have I shipped? Yeah, I already shipped this. I don't remember if it went back to PA. I'll have to look at it. I'll look at it right now while Vicky's doing this.
Okay.
What you got here?
And this one is just one of those inexpensive muumuus, caftans, Hawaiian muumuu, whatever you want to call it. All of those words should all be in your titles when you can fit them. But this was not listed very long. This was maybe listed for a couple of weeks. I paid less than $1 for this at the bins. I always pick up Hawaiian dresses and caftans. They don't even have to be super vintage. I'm going to sell them for $25 to like $75 all the time. This is one that was a very light, like polyester, not the cotton. The ones that are cotton or a cotton blend tend to sell for more money. They're stiffer, they're nice, they're more moisture wicking. This is much lighter, but this polyester does make you sweat, right? So most people that are buying muumuus are wearing them in warmer climates. A lot of them are bigger people. It's still a popular look, and this is a 2XL. So I didn't expect to get a ton for this, but this is one of those, keep an eye out. The brand Royal Creations has been in existence forever. There's no shortage of finding these. Well, we live on what people call the Ninth Island here in Hawaii, and here in Las Vegas, a lot of Hawaiians live here. And there's always a ton of Hawaiian wear at the bins and at the thrift stores here. So I pick it up every time I can. I know it's not as prevalent for other people in other states necessarily.
I just got a Royal Creations Hawaiian shirt from Jen, and I think I've already listed it. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, and it's just I sell them every time. Just use the right descriptors, take some good photos. This is a really pretty colorway, as Lorna said. The purple is really pretty. It's pink. It's got the split sleeve. You know, just do your descriptions well, and almost all of the time, a caftan or a muumuu is worth picking up. Almost all the time.
Okay, so the wrestling sweatshirt did not go back to Pennsylvania. It actually went to San Francisco. So.
Ooh, weird.
Yeah, but it could be somebody who's from Pennsylvania originally. All right, next one for me. This is one of my few better sales of the week, but I guess we are going into election season, and I sold this.
I would vote for Bugs over the other options.
This is Vote for Bugs Bunny. I've had this for a little while, but I got it. I know I got this one from yesterday's fits. I probably paid like anywhere from $5 to $10 for it. But I sold it for the price you see there, $59.99 plus shipping. It's just a really cute Vote for Bugs Bunny, 1992, elect Bugs Bunny. What does it say? A carrot in every pot. Oh, you're going to get a carrot in every pot. That's funny. Anyway, so one of my high price sales with all these like mediocre low price. I just gotta get over it, man. We're doing volume. We're doing volume, but still.
So, Tommy, I mean, polyester is less breathable because man-made fabrics are always going to be less breathable than natural fabrics like silk and cotton. However, polyester and man-made fabrics are much more durable. They're much more stain resistant. They're easier to clean, and the moisture, they're not really moisture wicking, but they're quicker drying. So it's a toss-up. Sometimes it's just a preference. I personally hate the feel of polyester, and I am very tactile when it comes to fabric content for myself. There's certain things that I just don't like the feel of, so I won't wear them. And I don't wear polyester if I just don't wear polyester, and it's not for any preference. I'm not being snotty about it or anything. I just don't like the way it feels on my skin.
Yeah. All right, next one for you.
These are nothing special. These are just, again, talking about making, accepting all offers. I am very happy to accept offers on things, especially on Macari, because we are no longer paying fees on Macari. I generally don't do free shipping on shoes. Those do say free shipping, so oops, I'm going to be doing free shipping on those. But $52 offer on $69 boots. They're Ariat boots, good price. I did get them at the bins. I probably paid $4 or $5 because they are heavier. But they're also a very small size. 6.5 is a small size by anyone's stretch, unless you're Crystal and she's got little baby feet.
Yep, that's true. I don't know how she stays upright.
I don't know how she doesn't tip over. She's the cutest little feet, like little kid-sized feet. But $52, I was pretty happy to get that. So, and happy to sell them. And that's it, really. Nothing super exciting about them. Aria is a good brand. I would generally pick it up. They would have sold much faster if they were like a women's size 8 or something like that, which is much closer to standard and more popular size. So,
yeah, you're only 5 foot nothing. Well, it's funny because my
you're 5 foot nothing, and your feet are 3 inches.
My friend Kinsey is like, I don't know, maybe half an inch taller than me, and I'm 5'10", and she has the tiniest feet. And I always would tease her about like she's not as small as yours, but she's very tall with very small feet. Okay, my next one. Now, this one I actually do remember. I'm 99% positive, and Jen can back me up here. I think this was from not this last batch that I got from her, but the batch before, I believe. Maybe I'm totally wrong, but I think so. In which case, I paid $5 for it. It's just a really cool, super vibrant tie-dye t-shirt, Rocky Mountain High. This is Aspen. And so I always put stuff into it, like I said, ski Aspen, because, even though it doesn't technically have anything to do with skiing, it's like, what do you think of when you think of Aspen? So somebody who is looking for an Aspen t-shirt or a skiing t-shirt, I want this one to pop up. What?
They're really looking for a pot t-shirt. The eye is dotted with a pot leaf.
Oh, it is.
Are you like...
I didn't even notice it. Look at what an idiot I am.
Why didn't you put 420 in the title?
I know, I should have. Whatever, it's sold. Why do you care?
I don't know.
I wouldn't have priced it any higher. Anyway, you're absolutely right.
It's probably a weed store in Aspen.
I seriously didn't even notice, but I love it. That's pretty funny.
It's probably
a very clever play on words.
It's probably a weed store in Aspen.
Yeah.
If there isn't a weed store called Rocky Mountain High in Aspen, there should be a weed store called Rocky Mountain High in Aspen.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me talk to the marketing team.
Yeah, you need to go talk to them. Anyway, awesome shirt. I'm a moron. But again, I wouldn't have priced it any higher. Even if had I been paying attention. I know, Alexis, thanks for feeling sorry for me. I appreciate it. I appreciate you taking pity on me. But I sold it for $44.09. Come on. I paid $5 for it. Whatever. Come on. Anyway, I hate all of you. Bye.
You're such a jerk.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so this is another type of shirt. I think I've talked about this before. I find these at the bins here very frequently. We have a very heavy Asian population here in Vegas as well. And I find these very frequently, and no one else wants them or buys them, and I sell them every time. Traditional Filipino Tagalog shirt. They're wedding shirts or more dress shirts. They're always sheer fabric. And not always, but most of the time, sheer fabric, heavily starched. There's like a half a bottle of starch in this thing. And I buy them and find them all the time. And I paid less than $1, super lightweight. And it's sold within a week, maybe
Sorry,
2
I can't
weeks.
Change any of the pictures.
No, it's okay. A week of being listed.
Nice.
That's a Poshmark sale for $80. That was
nice.
A full price
Awesome.
sale. So you definitely want to, if you find these in the wild somewhere, don't be afraid of getting them. It has nothing to do with brand. Brand is irrelevant. Crystal, maybe you can pop in there in the chat. I know you're more familiar with this than I am. Why these maybe sell as frequently as they do, but they're always worth picking up.
Well, it's interesting because, we talk about how there's different things where, like, Vikki will, she used to pick up, like, stuff like Indian dresses and stuff like that. Different types of, stuff from other countries or other cultures, and they just don't sell. And so it's interesting to see, like, there's some things, like cultural things that do sell really well. Like, you can get, like Indian, Japanese robes or... But like anything Indian
clothing, these beautiful kurtas and these beautiful, the dresses, traditional Indian clothing, the saris and the wraps and things like that. They're made out of the most luxurious fabrics. They're all hand stitched. They're just beautiful patterns and colors. and they don't sell for shit online. You don't want it. You cannot pick them. You can find them everywhere
because they're usually custom made for people.
They're not just custom made.
You don't buy them used.
They're not just custom made, but it's cultural that they're made with your community.
Yeah.
Women that sew together and create these garments together, so they're not buying used garments. They'll donate them when they're done wearing them themselves. But that's why there's so many of them you find in thrift stores. Because they're donated, but the people that buy for resale have realized that they're just not worth purchasing to resale.
But I also think I saw something recently where it's also culturally, if you're from that, like if you're Indian, you wouldn't be caught dead buying a secondhand dress that was made for somebody else.
That's true.
Like it's very much, it's a status thing, and it's like, it's, you just wouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no resale value. So it's just interesting because there's, different cultures have some really beautiful clothing, and it's like
and you can tell that there's so much time and effort and skill that goes into creating it, and beautiful fabrics. Obviously you're not going to just pick it up and wear. I'm not going to pick up and wear a sari, and that's very much cultural appropriation. I would never do that, but I think it's beautiful clothing, and I feel so sad that it's discarded in a thrift store or at the bins and nobody else wants it.
Crystal says her guess would just be that it's expensive to buy a new. All right, so my last one, this is my best sale I had of the week. And I've had this shirt for a while. I've probably had it for over a year. And I got this from yesterday's Fits. I probably paid like $5 for it. This is an example of something. Now, first of all, if I got it now, I would not list it for this high. And clearly it was listed too high because it took too long to sell it. But this is an example where I pick up something and it really has nothing to do with anything. This isn't from anything in particular. It's really just, I like the graphic, I like the concept, the like what the kind of the message, and I think somebody might pay some money for this. Like this one, all it is somebody holding a Molotov cocktail and says, "Let's toast the rich" with our choice of cocktail.
It's kind of problematic.
What is what it is.
F the establishment.
Pretty much. I can get on board with some anarchist stuff. I'm not going to be throwing any Molotov cocktails or anything like that, but whatever. It's a freaking graphic t-shirt. And I sold it for the price you see there, $89.99, and it's actually going to Canada. So I guess they're disillusioned and disgruntled, and full of angst up in Canada as well, eh?
All right. So I've never been to an Indian wedding. I guess I would wear one if I were expected to at an Indian wedding, since it's part of a custom. But I mean, it's not like I'm going to walk around wearing it in public type thing. I think there is an eBay in India. There's one in most countries. I don't know. I just know that the whole, beautiful clothing, selling it used, it does not work here. And I sell worldwide, so obviously I would sell to another country if they purchased it from another country, but just not a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, all right, that's it for our sales highlights for the week. Let me move this over here.
Oh. Crystal's even smarter than I am. It's not starch. It's made of pineapple fibers.
What?
I did not know that.
Interesting.
No. Okay. All right.
Very interesting.
I would have put that in the listing if I knew that. See, I'm smart enough that I can figure out a good title, but that's it.
I don't know if that would change anything because the people are looking for it. They don't necessarily need that in the keywords.
I would put it in the description or something. I don't know.
Yeah, Paula. I mean, the whole cultural appropriation thing. I think that
when you're invited to do it, it's a different conversation.
Ignorant, white folks, I think that there's a lot of nuance to it, because there's also a lot of stuff where it's like a lot of cultures where they're like, we want to see our culture represented, and we love it when people are wearing that stuff. I think it just depends, and it's like we aren't necessarily savvy.
Part of it's intent.
We aren't necessarily savvy enough to understand the differences, and sometimes we get a little bit too overly sensitive to it, when it's to the point where we're more sensitive to it than the culture it's supposedly offending. So
that's true.
But whatever. We're just dumb, as is obvious by the fact that I didn't notice that t-shirt was about smoking the weed, even though it was on a tie-dye
Which,
t-shirt.
by the way, Emily said Rocky Mountain High is a dispensary machine. So
whatever. I still sold it. Dang nabbit. It doesn't matter. I like to think that the person that bought it had no idea themselves, and they're just going to be walking around with their shirt, and they're like, I love my cool shirt, and I love skiing in Aspen. And then somebody comes up and is like, yo, dude, you got a doobie? And they're like, what is going on right now?
You think that's what's going to happen?
Yeah.
You think people use the word doobie?
Yeah. Why not?
Nobody under the age of 65 uses the word doobie.
Whatever, man. You don't know. It's all coming back. Anyway,
Alright,
so
Cheech and Chong.
as far as goals that we set last week, I don't know. I'm just continuing to do my 10 things a day. What I've been doing, I've kept up on my 10 a day, so that's all going well and fine. I have not put away the rest of my stuff with my bins that I bought last week, but like I said before, I'm probably just going to put that off until Vicky is out of town because it just gives me a little more time to take on big projects like that. So for whatever, I've basically upheld what I was planning on doing based on what I said last week. But I think what I've been working on now, I've been basically trying to stockpile stuff.
You have a lot.
But the thing is, I don't have that much, okay? Because you're leaving in, when are you leaving? You're leaving...
I'm leaving on the 18th.
On the 18th. So you're leaving in 11 days. So that's 110 things that I need for listing before you even leave.
All right.
Okay? Before you even leave. Okay?
Calm yourself.
And then I have the 10 days while you're gone. I have 10 days of listing. That's 100 items, okay? And that only gets me to the last day you're here. And I said my goal was I wanted to have like 100 items in my bank. So that's like over 300 items I need. So right now I've got stuff that needs to be processed and photographed. I got like 140. So I need...
You probably have another 30 that need to be bleached.
So, okay. So I need minimum at least another 100 plus items. More than that. I need like... So anyway, we've been going to the bins. I've been stockpiling, but I need to stockpile more. You always have something to say about my stockpile. She always says it like I'm doing something wrong. Like I've been out getting too much stuff. And I'm like, I'm going to list this. But then she does the same thing herself when she gets a bunch of stuff.
It's true.
She'll be like, I had too much. And it's like, okay, but you're listing it.
Yeah. So I'm probably doing 10 new listings a day. I'm reworking 10 to 20 a day. I'm still trying to get through my hard goods here. My biggest issue is that, like she said, I'm going to be gone for 10 days. I am not going to have the time to create a bank for 10 days. So what I'm looking to do is add, schedule 5 listings per day to go live while I'm gone for the entire 10 days. Katie will be shipping for me, which is a godsend, but I'm not going to be able to. I don't have internet, very, very sparse internet there. There's nothing I can do remotely. I can't like take a laptop. I have no time to do that. Nothing like that. So I have to we can text each other and we can talk to each other a couple of times at night, and that's about it. There's very little, it's very remote. And this is a new campground, to be fair, this year. I'm not exactly sure. It's not in the Cascade Mountains, but it is still in Washington State. So yeah, I've got to get my 10 new, my 10 or 20 reworked, and then 5 in the bank every day for this next, I guess the next 11 days or so until I take off, because I've got to have it ready for 10 days.
Jennifer, you shut your mouth. I'm
That
not
won't
listening
happen.
for her.
That won't happen.
Shipping for her is already enough. That's enough.
So no, we're not going anywhere. I'm going to camp this year, Paula. This is my last year at camp. For those of you that know, I am a camp counselor at a burn camp for children, children that are burn survivors. And it's in Washington State. It's called Camp Ayopsut. And this is the 38th year that the camp has been around. This is my 9th year. Well, it's my 10th year that I've been involved with the camp, but this is my 8th year going in person as a camp counselor. This is different for me. So this is my final year. It has become a little bit too difficult to work this in every year and take the time and the financial hit that it takes for me to go and volunteer. But also our counselors, we have a lot of newer counselors that are a lot younger, and it's time. It's time for the newer counselors to step up, and they have been. So I'm not a leader this year. I'm not leading my cabin. I'm not running the cabin. In fact, I don't even know what cabin I'm in yet. I'll probably still be with the little kids because that's where I like to be. But I'm just taking a step back. I'm just a worker bee this year, and this will be my last year. And part of it was to say goodbye to some people that I don't see outside of camp and probably won't see outside of camp. But I'm still always excited to go. When I'm not there, I'm sure I'm going to miss it every year. It's very bittersweet for me to be this being my I don't want to talk. I'm going to cry. This being my last year, but a couple of the kids that I started out with are graduating this year, which is also a real thing, which means that they're 17, they're aging out, and they're going to come back they take a year off, and then they come back as CITs, so they come back as counselors themselves. So it's actually nice to watch that. Like, some of the kids that I've known since they were 5 and 6 years old are now, 17, and they're 16, 17, and they're aging out. And it's really nice to be a part of something that does something so special for the community.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And
anyway, and
I'll
Katie's
just
going to
be
stay
here.
home, shipping for me.
I'll be
taking
doing
care of
something
the dogs.
special for the community by shipping Vicky's crap that she sells.
Yeah, shipping my used shit that I've sold on the interwebs.
But I want to take full advantage of that time that she's gone. And like I said, I want to get my bank up to 100, but I also have to be continually getting those 10 listings for every day all that time. So I really need, before you leave, I need to have probably another 200 pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll probably go to the bins at least a couple times this week, with or without you.
I'll probably go because I get FOMO.
It's true. So I need to get that stuff. Because even if I have 200 more pieces and I get my 100 bank, it's that still only gets me to when you get back, and then I'd be dipping into that bank again.
Right.
And that's the thing of the nature of how, like, at least how I'm doing things right now. It's like you're constantly having to kind of keep going and going and going and going. But I enjoy it. I like it.
That's what we're doing. So when I come back from burn camp, so that's all we're doing for July. And then August, we have a couple different things in August, right? So we have August, I am going to eBay for a few days in August. Invited to be at eBay for some sessions and to meet with some people and to get to be part of something where I get to hang out and meet some people. And, like I said before in another video, I'll say it again this time. If there are certain specific things about eBay's website or marketing or something that they're doing that you want me to bring up to them, please put it in the comments. Send a message. I do have a notebook that I'm keeping with all different things, not account specific to you. I can't help you with that type of stuff, but something overall that I can ask for different departments. Is there something you want to change on the seller page or the seller hub, or there's a question, or there's a weird click somewhere, whatever. Those are the type of things they want feedback on. And then when we come back from that, we will be going to Florida. We're going to Disney.
No play dates.
We are going to Disney for a few days, Florida in August. I don't know what we were thinking. We might die.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
That type of heat is not this type of heat.
Yeah.
But it'll be fun. We're going with our buddy, and we're gonna hang out and go to Disney. Katie's never been to Disney World.
Yeah.
So we're doing 3 days at Disney World.
I like how you're saying it like if you're doing it for me. You want to go.
I want to go.
I know.
I'm excited to bring you.
I'm excited for Hollywood Studios, and I'm excited for Epcot. I don't really care about the Disney thing.
That's why we're not going there.
I know. I'm just saying. I will not be doing the daily bin sourcing series. Listen, the last few times Vicky has gone away, I've kind of challenged myself to do all the stuff that daily videos and all this stuff. And the reality is I accomplished it. I was glad I did it. But it takes up a lot of extra time, and I end up killing myself by doing it. And this time I'm challenging myself, and I'm going to be working really hard and doing that, but I'm just going to be doing business stuff, not anything. I'm not going to be talking to anybody. I'm not going to be doing any videos. I'm going to hunker down and
Julie.
really knock it out of the park. So
that's funny, her comment right there. Yeah, I don't really know how to comment on this whole Puerto Rico thing that I like her little winky face. It's funny.
I've been selling to Puerto Rico for years. Their announcement made it sound like good news. You've expanded your audience.
No, what it means is that now eBay, if you purchase your shipping labels through eBay, and I know a lot of you guys do, I don't and have not in a couple of years. I ship strictly through Pirate Ship. When you purchase your shipping labels through eBay and you've sold something to Puerto Rico, it automatically flags it as an international sale. It always has. And sometimes you'd have to do a customs form and sometimes you don't, which is stupid because Puerto Rico does not require a customs form. That was some glitch in eBay's shipping system that has existed forever because their platform is ridiculous. But now they're saying that they are including it in their EIS, their international shipping, which means that if you're shipping to Puerto Rico and you're automatically opted into that if you're shipping to Puerto Rico, because that's the way eBay works, you're going to be automatically opted into that. So now Puerto Rico is going to cost more for the people that live in Puerto Rico to ship.
It's stupid.
Unless you're selling on another platform. Yeah. So it's really...
But the
It's
whole,
kind
like,
of ridiculous. It
but
means
the whole,
that
like,
poor
telling,
people in Puerto Rico now have to pay more money to get something from you on eBay.
but their whole thing of telling us like you've expanded your audience. My point is, I was already available to sell things to Puerto Rico, and it was never an issue. This isn't
Now
some
they're making
magical
it an issue.
world
Yeah.
where suddenly I get to sell to people from Puerto Rico. Which fine, we sell to Puerto Rico. How many times have you sold to Puerto Rico in the entirety of your career?
I mean, I don't know, maybe 100 times.
100 times? I've sold to Puerto Rico maybe 5 times. You've sold 100 things to Puerto Rico?
Maybe.
I don't.
I mean, I haven't exactly kept track, but
I know, but I'm just saying it's not like this huge boon to our business that suddenly we're whatever. But
yeah, it is just the same as the U.S. Virgin Islands. It's the same as the Guam and territories like that.
Yeah.
It's a U.S. territory. I don't understand why they're making it into what they have, because it's an eBay thing that they've made it into this, not the U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah.
U.S. Postal Service has always handled it properly.
eBay's like, what's another way to force people to ship to us and let us touch it so that we can charge more money and more fees?
The only thing I will say about that is that now, if you're using that system and someone from Puerto Rico decides they want to pay more money to get your item and you ship it through eBay, great. If it gets lost or if it gets damaged, eBay and they want to return it,
never happens. It's
eBay eats all of that. So that's the only thing.
I mean, I'm still irritated about the whole international thing because I'm forced. You cannot opt out of it. If you are offering international, you have to also be offering. They automatically just add to your listing the eBay version.
They have actually already said that they're going to be adding Alaska and Hawaii, Kathy, which is going to be a real problem for those of us that...
Stupid.
I ship a lot to Hawaii. Not as much to Alaska, but I do ship a lot to Hawaii. Yeah, it's kind of an issue. And yeah, game's not over. Being in Florida, it's cheaper to ship to Puerto Rico than it is to ship to Illinois. Yeah, see, you're going to get screwed.
Yep.
It's just, I know it's not a huge percentage of our sales, but it's like every little bit that they're chipping away
But
at.
the international thing, I sell multiple international things a week on eBay, and because of the way they changed it, they took the little bit extra that I got by assuming that risk myself and directly shipping to those countries. They took that little bit extra that I got, and they're keeping it for themselves. eBay
Michelle, I have always shipped direct international until I was forced into EIS, and now it automatically defaults to EIS and not your international. Yeah. If you've been able to get out of that, great. I hope you're able to give me some information.
You absolutely cannot. eBay, if you have international shipping turned on, eBay automatically adds EIS now. You'll have your own, like I have my own on there. The buyer gets to choose if they want to use your shipping or eBay shipping, but you cannot opt out of it unless you opt out completely from international. And I think that's what I think is bullshit, because they're basically, they're saying it's to make it better for the buyer. It's like, no, they're just saying they're just keeping all the extra money.
I shipped direct international my entire 27 years on eBay. Never ever used any of their systems because there was no need to. And you made a little bit of money on shipping because you're shipping it international, and we're using pirate ship, and you're using the simple export rate and all those things the last several years. And that is still the same for me on Etsy anyway, but not
Michelle, do you use
on eBay anymore?
Business policies? Because that's the thing. I use business policies, and for mine, if I offer international, it has a little blurb on it where it says that they will also be putting the EIS on it.
They overrode
so that's
business
where
policies.
That's where I can't opt out at all.
She said she uses them too.
No, but she says she was still
Scroll
opted
down.
out. What?
Read the rest of her comments.
Okay, I do see that, and I'm trying to figure it out because she's still opted out. Why can't I be opted out? I don't know. It's ridiculous. So.
Yeah, I've always used business policies too. I've been using them for, I guess, 8 years ago.
Yeah, I love
when they came
policies.
out, So I've been having a huge problem with trying to override that. If I could switch to shipping on my own international again, I would. The biggest issue that I do see with that is shipping on your own international is great. I've never had a problem with it. Mm-hmm. But eBay shows them the discounted shipping price now that they're using by doing the bulk shipping. So calculated international shipping and their bulk pricing makes your shipping look higher.
Yeah, it makes it look higher.
So, Daryl says it's 113 there. She's in
Tommy,
Bakersfield.
You can still ship direct to international. What I'm saying is when a buyer looks at my listing, they're seeing two different options for international. One is mine and one is eBay's. And eBay's makes theirs look cheaper. But the reality is they're adding in, like, for instance, going to Canada. There's a lot of things that when you ship to Canada, they don't actually charge, like
if it's pre-owned, if it's under $35, they don't charge VAT tax. There's a lot of other rules.
But eBay's already so
there's
whatever.
different rules in different countries, but eBay just kind of does like a blanket VAT collection for a lot of them. So it does end up costing your buyers more, which is why we had always, for years and years and years, you ever listened to us, we always said to please use your, learn to ship on your own, save yourself and your buyers some money. So I don't know.
Whatever.
It hasn't really slowed my sales very much internationally. I have to say, it's just cost me more money.
It has for me overall. Like mine dropped dramatically. Like, I mean, on eBay anyway. I probably sell more internationally on Etsy. Anyway, enough. We're going way past our time here. But we appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. And stay cool. I don't know what. Yeah,
try not to melt.
Try not to melt.
Forever Funky, our friend Daryl, she lives in Bakersfield, California, which is also high desert, kind of like Vegas. So it gets a lot of that real hot. I mean, 113 is real hot for Bakersfield. I would say, what are we at now?
I'm just looking right now. We'll wait and see if it updates here. It should have gone up a little higher, but I don't know. Oh, yeah, we are now at 115 here. So it's hot. It's
too hot.
But we've got 3 days coming up this week that are going to be at 116. So that's what we're looking like here. All right, guys. Stay cool. We appreciate you.
Stay hydrated. Drink your water.
Thanks for hanging out and for me to listen to me rant about stuff.
And we will see you next Sunday, and then there will probably be a week off unless Katie does a show by herself, which I know her. She probably won't. So 97
definitely
in Idaho.
Definitely not.
Man, Michelle. Whew.
Yeah, that's probably real hot. Real hot.
Hey, Cheryl, Yaya. All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your week. We will see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.